As usual, welcome back to another candid conversation with my beautiful sis, Empress B. What are we calling you today? Because you be having so many
I
monikers.
do. I'm the goddess. I'm the empress. So it just depends. They mean the same thing. You know what I mean?
I
Just,
love it.
just talk to me nice.
Right.
But yes, empress.
I love it. Okay, great. So, really quick, I want to just honor you and all the beautiful things that you bring to this space by putting your bio up on the screen so we could rightfully and clearly introduce the Empress in the building. Okay. So, Empress, aka Ebony, is a full spectrum holistic birth worker and intuitive psychic medium. Ebony says helping people is her first love. She has an unwavering desire to support and engage with her community and is advocating for brown and black women's overall wellness, wealth, and maternal health. After her own dream turned nightmare childbirth experience, her purpose painfully and beautifully became realized. With a passion for fair treatment in the medical industry, her mission to be a loud voice amongst society has led her to certifications in wound healing, fertility awareness, yoni steaming, and herbalism. She currently lives in Brooklyn, New York, with her two sons. Welcome, Empress.
And
Thank you so
thank
much
you, my
for being here.
sister. Thank you.
Yes. Thank
Such
you
an
so much
honor.
for being
Such
here.
a pleasure. Yes.
So today we just gonna talk. I just want to highlight you for all of the beautiful things that you are cultivating in the world.
Mhm.
And I want us to just spend some time talking about your journey. And so let's start with like the beginning. How did we come to know each other? Let's let the people know how we
Oh
came to be
goodness.
in each other's lives.
So I was will be again, um, recording tarot readings on YouTube. And yeah, which is it's so crazy to even like say it out loud, considering the fact that we grew up in the same borough, like we could have met years ago. And it took a platform of social media to for us to like align energetically. But yeah, you were watching my readings, and then you started commenting, and we kind of exchanged energy that way for a while. And then like, well, holla at me, and then we started emailing, and I found out you were having a baby, and then you found out I was a doula, and it's just been like these insane synchronicities since.
Yes,
I was actually
absolutely.
thinking about it today. I was telling Dee, how is it that, so like I said, we grew up in the same borough, we could have met a long time ago, we
Yeah.
have two children who are days apart, right? So I was in the kitchen making tea this morning and just randomly thinking about it. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so wait, I had Zai this year 2 days before Saida's birthday, and
Yes.
you had E few years ago, few days after Dee's birthday. If that's
Crazy.
not some, right? It's so poetic.
It is so beautiful. And I'm like itching to jump in there because it's deeper than just our kids, right?
Yeah.
When we look at our own, okay, so we kind of met in the spiritual space, right? So
Mhm.
you're a psychic medium and you do readings, collective energy, things like that. And I'm definitely in the spiritual space as well. I'm, still cultivating my own intuitive gifts and just always looking for people that I resonate with that can help me like connect the dots and make sure that my antennas are tuned to the right
Right.
frequency, right?
Right.
And so, like you said, we were physically in the same space, but probably energetically in completely different places in our own individual lives. But then our paths crossed when we got into that spiritual space, right?
Mhm.
And so you were doing readings and you would kind of drop like breadcrumbs about your own birth chart. And I'm like, yo, why is her shit like a mirror of mine? Like,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
Cancerian placements are like the direct mirror of yours, and Sag placements too. And that was like one of the main things that had me like, okay, let me listen up a little bit more. Obviously, your vibe is a whole movement in its own right, and your energy is just so magnetic. Plus, when I hear you talk, it brings me right back to New York. I feel like I'm at home.
Yeah.
So stumbled across you, I know that was divine. I was like, okay, this makes me feel at home, right?
Yeah.
Black girl witchy shit. Like I was like, yes, let's do it, right?
Right.
And then you were also dropping some breadcrumbs about your birth worker stuff. And that
Yeah.
was right around it. I was like, yo, we love her. Of course I want her to be on this journey with me to have this baby. But we were in different places and just it didn't work out for you to be present for the birth, but
Mhm.
you were present spiritually. And
Yes.
when I dropped him, you were like, yes, a king has been born. Like we were celebrating together. It was so beautiful. And I think you're right, like just us, because I'm a lurker on social media. I'm gonna just be honest. I'm not on social media right now, but when I was a huge lurker, and I wouldn't comment. I wouldn't like talk to nobody. I would just scroll past, be
Mhm.
observing and keep it moving.
Mhm.
But for some reason, I just felt compelled to connect with you, and I'm so happy I did. So that's kind of how we met. And then you're also right that so our birth charts mirror each other, and then our kids are also like, so that's that extra layer of it. It's like,
It's
yo,
so I'm getting
you don't know
chills
what
because
this person
it's
like.
so you want to say it's freaky, but you're like, I know better, but it is. It's freaky to just think about.
So beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And we
Yes.
right back. We right back on it.
Yeah.
Whatever that frequency was before we got started, that ain't even our vibe. So we cleared that. I'm so happy to share this energy with other people. So real quick, like, what was your life like before we met? Because when we met, I kind of reached out for your support as a birth worker. And then the roles kind of flipped because I was really moving into the space of my own spiritual work and coming on the scene, coming out of obscurity for the things that I'm doing with spiritual mothering and things like that. And then we started working together. Okay, my light just trying to go out on me. Hold on, because I'm ready. I knew you was going to do
Stay
it.
ready so you don't have to get ready.
For real. Okay. So yeah, then the roles kind of switched a bit and you started working with me. Like I started supporting you on your journey. And so I want to kind of paint the picture of what life was like before we met. And then once we met, what was it like before we actually started working together? So just tell us about your journey
Oh
before.
goodness. Okay. So before we met, I was married, and I thought that that was going to be the end all be all, right? And it went. We took a deep nosedive very quickly, and that's a part of the reason why I try to encourage people to honor those gut feelings, because the external world will try to tell you that they're wrong, but it's you can't, right? So I was working in retail, kind of doing that thing, personal training on the side. So we had our hands in everything, She's a jack of all trades. um, and uh, honestly, I often try to think about what led me to like buying my first tarot deck,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what it was, other than just like inspired action. I saw it and I was like, okay. And I would just look at the cards. I didn't know nothing, I really didn't know, but I knew that I was looking for something. There was more, right? There was this desire to have more. There was um, this very loud voice of unfulfillment, of
Mm-hmm.
discontentment, and um, I just felt like I was being called to much greater than I was called to finally relinquish the resistance. Okay.
Oh,
Um,
so good. Yes.
yeah. Just constantly. So that's kind of where I was. Just prior to me like starting my tarot channel and those kind of things.
Yeah. I'm glad you said relinquishing the resistance because the very first program that we did together was Season of Surrender. And that was a minute ago.
Major. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So let's talk about like right before we jumped into that program together, like what was going on that you knew you needed to surrender some stuff. You talked about needing to relinquish resistance.
Yeah.
And then kind of walk us through how it was to even start that program because I think what I'm trying to get at are like the specific challenges or pain points that you were really facing before we started
Yes.
working.
So it like I mentioned, deep discontentment.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the correlation between what was going on within me and what I was seeing outside
Mm,
of myself. Um, and there was this constant like this cannot be my life. I guess is the best way that I can say it. Me just every day like there's no way I cannot fathom doing this for the rest of my
yeah.
life. Oof. Okay, yeah. So that's what it was. It really was just that it would not let me rest. Like I did not know peace, and
Mm,
it compelled me. Like I had to. I've always been like a seeker, inquisitive, right? The Sagittarius in me, right?
mhm.
Um, but it was heavy, right? Like it was deep. Um, it wasn't just like a mental thing. It was something I was feeling like in my gut. Um, and yeah, and I was like, okay, I kind of kept getting the nudges of needing to surrender. I actually saw something about it today. Like, yeah, they've been asking you to do this for the past 7 to 15 years, and you're just like, okay.
Right.
And also it was the recognition of my part in my own suffering.
Mm, that's deep. I appreciate you saying that. Especially because the Season of Surrender program was born out of a similar recognition, right? I was like, okay, God, because I'm hard headed. I don't know about you. I don't know if it's just because us New
You
York
heard
girls,
what I
we
said.
kind of
Seven to
like we
15 years.
yeah, we run our own show. We're like, nah, we ain't surrendering to nobody, right? We banging for every corner. We ain't, ain't trying to hear none of that. What you say, spirit side, square up? What you talking about?
Yeah, right. You don't even know what you're talking
Started
about, but
squaring up. No, spirit started squaring up and was knocking our asses down. And I definitely had to create a space that I could feel safe in my spirituality and also like be progressive in my mindset, you know? Um,
yes.
even the surrendering sometimes is scary because we don't know how long we'll have to slow down or stop for. We don't know exactly what we'll have to surrender. And so that's the fear is kind of what keeps the resistance going. Um, but I remember we started out um just like slowly, right? We started flame gazing, which is one of my favorite
Yes.
meditation practices. We talk about that often and how that's impacted our lives, but also our connection too. Once we started the surrender journey and flame gazing together, we were locked in. Like we would be thinking about each other, and then here you go, boop boop. Oh, yo, you
Yeah,
must have
yeah,
heard
yeah.
me, like.
Did you? Yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
you called me spiritually, didn't you? Okay, my angel team came and brought that message for me. So,
Yeah.
can you describe what it was like with us working together? And what did you appreciate about that initial experience? The surrender.
It was a bit of the nurturing and mothering that I needed growing up. In relinquishing the resistance is also being able to recognize those areas that were void, right? The areas of yourself that had been abandoned, neglected, really, really, truly, you have to take a raw inventory of some stuff. And it's not to place blame, it's just for your own self awareness. So you're like, now I know where I'm starting from. It was, yeah, it was really just like, and you don't, people, you don't want to be like, yeah, I had to hold your hand, but sometimes just a little bit, so so the person that you're helping along knows that it's safe, right? Like you just mentioned, you wanted a place where you were safe in your spirituality, but also able to progress in your mind, and that very seldomly exists. So when you already have trust issues because of what it is that you've been through, yeah, you do need a little bit of hand holding to be like, it's okay. This is not a place of judgment, right? I created this because I know that it was necessary, and not to, because we got to be careful with that too, right? Folks get in a position of power and then,
Right.
right. But we're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about that. It was, yeah, it was the mothering, the encouragement, the accountability
Yeah.
that was needed, that had been needed for a long time. And it's sad to even think about, really, to be like, well, dad, I deserved this when I was a little girl.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
why didn't anybody look at me and realize that this is what I deserved?
Right.
So yeah, it was loving.
Yeah.
It was
Ah.
loving. Yeah. It really was, though.
So
And not in, well, let me clarify. And
yeah.
not in an enabling way, right? Because I
Oh yeah,
made
no,
a
you
point to talk about the accountability and the needing to, right? Like assignments needed to be handed in, shit needed to be done on time, right? Like
yeah.
I'm holding your hand, but I'm holding you responsible too. So
Yeah.
it was necessary.
I love that you said, like you mentioned some of the trust issues that you had, and that was me, right? So again, that's why I created it. I was like, I gotta get rid of these trust issues. If I say I believe in the divine and that everything is working out for my benefit, then why am I so hesitant to move
Mhm.
forward with things? Why am I not trusting myself, even much less other people? And I'm really glad, obviously, I know this, but I'm glad that you were able to mention it because I'm curious to know, like, for a person that has had those trust issues in the past, what made you say, like, I could trust this person? And I believe that she's actually going to hold my hand, but she's also going to hold me accountable. She believes in me. She's seeing me, for greater than I actually am showing up or seeing myself as. Like, what was it that kind of gave you that? Okay.
I get maybe a little bit of bias because we had genuinely built like a connection and a bond prior to that. So it's not like I'm meeting, and not that you probably wouldn't be able to convince me with like some advertisement or marketing too, right? But um, I already trusted you. We had already created that safe space for each other. We have had many conversations, many ugly cries,
Yes.
even when we didn't want to. So it was, yeah. Sorry if you can hear
It's
the baby.
okay. Please bring him. Girl, don't act like that.
um,
He is welcome in this space.
he saw his uncle came in, and he gonna play.
Okay.
He'll get picked up. But um, yeah, I had already trusted you, and I believed in what it was that you were doing. You had, you were candid with me about what it represented and what you were trying to do, and like the vision that you had for it. And I'm like, definitely sound like something that I need. Thank you. And I honestly had begun to see why we had crossed paths, because I didn't have the knowledge. I wasn't aware that I was, giving you the support that you needed when you needed it, until you told me that, right?
Yeah.
So it just felt right. Like, you my
Yeah.
sis. So yeah. And I honestly, it has been, and I've told you this before, it has been so pivotal in healing for me, especially when it comes to my relationships with women.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. And I remember I had emailed you one time. We were chatting about something. I was like, you know the truth based on how it feels. And I think that one line, we both was like, yo, I know this girl. Like I know this, I know her. That is my sis right there. And that has always resonated for us, that we know the truth of our connection based on how it feels. And so I'm glad that that came up. Was there anything that like surprised you about our experience, or like any aha moments that you had while we were working together initially that kind of shifted your perspective at all?
I think it was when we did the flame gazing. When we
Mm,
started, because that was new for me. I
got
don't know
you.
if I had told you that. Yeah. I was like, you want to do what? I was like, all right, yeah, like, what could it hurt, right? I've always hear, like, if you're not doing any harm to anybody, you could, it's fine. So I was like, okay, yeah, you want me to, but once we did, and then I saw what came of that, I was like, oh, baby. I mean, damn, I ain't know we was this powerful, yeah, it really, and it strengthened my belief in the unseen for real, because
Mhm.
that's like I said, when you got trust issues, you're like, I can't trust what I can actually see. You want me to trust what I can't see? No, no way. There's no way I'm gonna be able to do that. But
Yeah.
when you begin to see the evidence, even in the small increment, right? Because that's what they be doing to us sometimes. You get a
Yep.
little breadcrumb, little taste. It helps you hold on. So
Yeah. So let's really quick just relive that beautiful moment when we started to see that our flame gazing connected us spiritually and on a subconscious level, and then we started to see things manifest through that. So what are some of the things you remember coming out of that moment? Like what did we give birth to from starting that flame gazing journey?
the spiritual mothering summit.
Our baby.
And that's
We
how
we have
yeah.
we have a
And
baby.
y'all like, look at it, look
That's my baby mama. That's just
at
my baby
See, man, that's just my baby mama. What you mean? But
Exactly.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I don't think, I know we witnessed our unfolding. We
Yeah.
witnessed more layers of ourselves peeling back, right? We were both like, I don't know what I'm doing. You don't know what you're doing, but we are right. I'm right here. I'm right here with you, right?
Yeah.
And every mistake, every time you trip and fall, like, oh, I got you. Come on, I got you.
Right.
Come on. And that's really how it felt.
Yes, I love that. So a beautiful dream was birthed through us, the Spiritual Mothering Summit, which we just celebrated our second annual. So our baby turned two this past September. So excited. And it was just so awesome to see it, kind of grow from a thought seed to an actual sprout, and for it to be, you know, gaining its roots and strengthening itself in the world, and how the impact that we're having on other women has been so amazing, even in what we would consider a short time. But absolutely the best thing that came out of that, like just it was awesome. Okay, so when we started, there were like you said, it was assignments, it was like calls we would connect on, we would flame gaze at a specific time every day together, and that really helped solidify so much. How did those tools or strategies, and even some of the resources that I provided you, help with your personal growth and transformation? So maybe not necessarily as connected to me, but like in your own experience.
Yeah, I've definitely flame gazed a few more. I did it. I don't know if I told you, when probably like a week before I had Zai.
Did you?
I did
You
it,
can tell me
yeah,
that.
because I really had to relinquish the control, right? In the beginning of my pregnancy, I was like, I'm having this baby at home. I had the tub. I had, like, everybody was focused. When I tell you, girl, we were locked and loaded. So to
Yeah.
get to 39 and a half weeks and being like, okay, no, I'm having a C-section.
Yeah.
Right? It's devastating, in its little own way. And I had to really be intentional and say that this is not going to be the experience that I had the last time. I'm in a better place. I trust that the divine is having the people who are supposed to be there to help me through this, right? Like the right way. And I really set that intention. And this time around was so much more beautiful than it was for me the first time. And that made a huge difference because I was very anxious going into it. Like, oh my God, it's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be right because my first one was very traumatic. Um, so yeah, in my own existence, I've done more flame gazing and utilizing the like really getting clear on what it is that I want to build and like listing it out, seeing those things when we would set our goals, when we would say, okay, this is what we declaring and decreeing. So in 6 weeks, I expect it to look like this, and us being able to actually do it. It sounds crazy, but some of us need that level of discipline. We need that almost like the same classroom setting that we had, growing up, because not for nothing. Like, if I know this assignment don't get turned in, I'm going to fail my class. I'm going to turn in this assignment.
Exactly.
And then carrying those things over into what it is that I'm trying to build. Like the workshop that I did the other day, that was something that I had talked about, wanting to do. And to see it to come to fruition, it's like, we really need to stop playing with ourselves. You know what I mean? We really do. I know we come from a long line of people who've probably convinced us that we can't have what it is that we want because they couldn't acquire what it is that they wanted. But we have to know that as long as we stay true to who we are and you continue to follow your bliss, you will be mind blown by what happens for you. And I feel like that these past 2 years have been such a testament to that. Even with the detours, right, and the inconveniences and the things that we know have come up that have put us in right predicaments, like we still here. We still here. And then that
Yes.
stuff brings me back. You know what I mean? Like you have to constantly just like recenter yourself.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. You brought up so many amazing things. So you had talked about the difference between this birthing experience and your first birthing experience. So I want to talk about that a little bit
Okay.
because not only did you like have an entire life in between the first and the second baby, but like I'm curious to know how this new version of yourself that had emerged from us doing a lot. I believe, and this is just my caveat, like I believe that we had done so much clearing of some of the things that were blocking you when it came to motherhood. And I kind of brag about this. I'm like, listen, when she first came to me, she was trying to overcome some of the stress and trauma and experiences that you had gone through with your first son, not him personally, but like the school, the public school system, the
Yeah.
medical industry, how they treat our kids, being a mom so young and all of those things. And then having grown up and surrendered a lot of things and done that type of work to now open up the space for you to have another baby and to like see your entire life from a different perspective. So just talk to us a little bit about how those two experiences changed from the work that you've
Oh
done.
goodness. We definitely change every time we have a baby. Um, for better or for worse, I guess it just is a case by case basis, right? But so Dee's birth was traumatic. I was 20. I was 20. I knew nothing about, having a baby, giving birth. I knew nothing about the processes, policies, my options. None of those things were talked. None of those things were discussed with me. So I just went in to give birth. I just thought I was going to have my baby and come home. And I ended up bedbound for 15 hours. I couldn't even like get on all fours. They wouldn't even let me like roll over in their bed. I was on my back the whole time. It was terrible. I was on display for medical students and all type of people. Like, oh yeah, honey, in hindsight, had I known what I know, it would have been a problem. But yeah, so I ended up having a C-section because I was getting pumped of Pitocin for half of that time. And then D's heart rate started dropping with my contractions. And then my blood pressure was going up because I was stressed. I was uncomfortable. I was cold. It was the worst. So I ended up having a C-section. Recovery from that was hellish because I had already been in labor for so many hours. So that, and then abdominal surgery, it was not fun. It was not fun. And that was when I was like, well, if this is how women are having babies, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to do this anymore. I'm good. Okay. And that's what I stood on for 18 for 18 years. For 18 years. Many have tried and failed. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you because no. And that's how women are having babies, and I was seeing it. And then we began to see women dying in childbirth and complications and all of these other things. When I graduated high school, I wanted to go to medical school. But then when I saw the cost of medical school, raised by a single mother with 3 children, I was like, yeah, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do that. And I let the dream go. Some years down the line, honestly don't even remember how Sunny and I met, but when I saw what a doula was and I looked it up and I'm like, this is essentially what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an OBGYN. But I was like, who has $120,000, $150,000 for medical school? Mm-hmm. But yeah, so when I saw doula, I was following her on Twitter. And after a little while, she mentioned that she had a program. I reached out to her. She shared like some reviews from past students and stuff. And then I hit her up. She was actually doing a sale. So it was a scholarship. She was offering a scholarship. Excuse me. She was offering a scholarship. And I applied. And I was one of the 5 students that she granted it to. So I was like, okay. And then when I started my doula certification, now hers is Afro-Indigenous, right? She's very much like, we honor our people. We're going to honor how the granny midwives did things. Like, these are the traditions and the rituals and how we prepare women for birth. You have to honor a woman's body. A woman has to be in the same environment that she made that baby to birth that baby. If she does not feel safe, cared for, and protected, she's not going to have the experience that she wants, right? Amongst other things. And at the same time, we were doing this, right? So it really was like a tenfold, like, my mind was constantly just being blown all the time. Yeah, so we did some womb healing throughout our program over there. And then when I joined for menstrual cycle coaching, we did a little bit more, which had shown me some things ancestrally that I was still kind of carrying, right? Because most people don't know, you are in your grandmother when she's pregnant with your mom, right? For like the last 4 months or so, something like that. So if grandma has her own unhealed trauma or, deep-rooted psychological issues, those are passed on to mommy in one way or another, which essentially are passed on to you. And I got a lot of that information doing the work in group settings with Sunny, and I was just like, oh my goodness, it's so much deeper than what I thought, right? And a combination of all of those things led me to believe that someone else was meant for me.
Yeah.
And then someone else was meant for me. And in the brief exploration of that, I found out Zai was coming. And that was a bit of a struggle for me, because even though I had done so much work, I always said I wasn't having any more kids because I just automatically assumed I was going to have the experience like I did with D. And I didn't want that. But because I had gained the understanding, I had already gotten certified as a doula. I had already been certified as a menstrual cycle coach. I was getting my Yoni Steam certification and becoming a Reiki master while I was pregnant. It was okay. So baby girl, she died about 12 times throughout those 9 months of pregnancy. you know, and it really had I not met you, had I not met Sunny, I'm pretty sure Zion wouldn't be here now because I wouldn't have done the
Right.
work that needed to be done to make me feel safe enough, really, for me to use my voice is what it all boiled down to.
Mm.
To know that I could stand up for myself, that I had options, that I could choose, that I didn't just have to take what the health providers were telling me, that they were practicing medicine. They were not really experts of it, so it was just, it all, and in addition to all of the years of mothering D, I really
Yeah.
was a new woman, I really was. So, um, and so, uh, going, seeing Zion for the first time, really like, okay, wow, I'm really having like another baby. I just knew I was about to step into my rich auntie era, honey. I just knew I was about to be stepping into the rich auntie era. Like, oh, everybody else having kids. Look at y'all. Yes, I'll just be auntie, babysit and take them back home. But no.
Right.
So since
Because Spirit had rich mommy. Spirit got $1 million mommy vibes for you. So
yeah,
like,
yeah, right, exactly. You
like,
like, so
no,
it's
we gonna
nothing.
give you
Yeah,
another
it's
chance,
nothing.
and then you gonna level up $5,000.
Yeah, so by the time I was going in to have Zion, I realized that I was equipped, right? Like going to my prenatal appointments, having those type of issues, not really issues, but challenges where it was like, I now needed to advocate for the way that I would be telling future clients that they need to advocate for themselves, right? And I felt so empowered. I felt so strong. I felt so resilient. I felt equipped. And that's exactly what I was lacking 18 years ago. I did not feel equipped to have a baby. Even though in my mind, being the older sister, I was like, I've been taking care of kids forever. So this is nothing, but babysitting and parenting are at opposite ends of the spectrum as far as that is concerned.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt more prepared. So I knew nobody was about to play in my face. And it wasn't going to go any other way than how I wanted it to, even with the change of plans, right?
I love it. You know what hit me while you were sharing that you had graduated from Season of Surrender and Spiritual Mothering Summit to the Mastermind. So
Mm-hmm.
we've been really rocking out heavy for a long
Baby, pregnant? No, I was in there, right? Yeah.
every week, twice a week, and you were so committed to the process. And we've had so many beautiful breakthroughs throughout that mastermind experience as well, which really kind of started getting things percolating for your business, right? And like how you wanted to take some of the ideas we had given birth to during your program with Sunny and through our Season of Surrender, flame gazing, putting stuff together, you seeing us pull the Spiritual Mothering Summit off and getting inspired, like, okay, nah, I could do this, right? And so, obviously pregnancy has its own rhythm. And so you had to adjust and surrender to that rhythm. But then you were really committed to the mastermind. And then you slowly had to say, okay, I'm here with y'all in spirit, but I got to take care of this baby. And so, just out of curiosity, like what areas of your life do you think have improved since working with us at the mastermind? It could be areas of like mothering, your career, your personal wellness, your money story. Like we've done so much
Yeah,
work. So
yo,
just talk to us
I
about
definitely wanted to talk about that because that for all of us, girl, it was so soul stirring having those conversations, doing that work. It was so, so stirring because you're just like, damn, like I said, like this cannot be my life. We recognize that a long time ago. We all recognize that a long time ago. So I would definitely say the money story because this was something that I noticed. What's today? Sunday. I want to say like Thursday, maybe Wednesday of last week. I noticed that I don't even certain shit don't even come out my mouth no more. I realize like even when I'm thinking about it, I'm not even my language has changed, right? My perception about it has changed because we really had to like, okay, yeah, we recognize where it came from, but is that the truth though?
Right.
Like we recognize that that's where it came from, but is that your truth? That may be the truth that you experience, but is that your truth? And then now that you realize how do we adjust, right, and reassess it so it aligns with where it is that you actually want to be. That was so powerful. My own wellness, of course, in motherhood. Hi, Amen. God, you just be right on time. Yeah, and motherhood it's giving me more grace. I look at my children, they've always been an inspiration for me. A lot of the things that I did raising D was because I was fighting for him. I was, making sure he had what he needed. And the same thing with having Zai here now too. It's very much kept me like, okay, amidst the chaos, right? I'm here, right? And so I talked about the money story when it comes to parenthood. And then of course, when I'm handling my own stuff, me creating my workshop, finalizing my workshop, really like, yeah, I can put myself out there. I hit you up the same day, like, all right, forget it. I put it out. I did it. I'm not being scared no more. Like that's been such a pivotal part of it to be, especially because if you watch yourself have 2 C-sections, if any mother watches herself give birth, baby, there's no way that you can continue to question your strength and resilience and what you're capable of, right? And so to have done that a second time, I even said it today, like to be 7 months pregnant and I'm 7 months pregnant, who 7 months postpartum. Oh, to be 7 months postpartum, and I was, watching myself work out today. I'm like, girl, I was not doing that 18 years ago. I was still struggling to feel better and feel like myself. So it has really, it's been heartbreakingly beautiful. Because it's a ebb and flow kind of thing, right? Like even though we recognize we have these moments of being on the peak, we're like, oh baby, but them valleys though, them valleys was rough too. Now let's not, but I honestly am so grateful for all of it. Tiba, had I not made the decision to continue to show up for myself, it probably would be a different story.
And that's part of the reason why I needed to highlight you, because I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the commitment and the dedication that you have shown to your own process and to child and to seeing yourself blossom. Like, because we've worked together for such a while now, it's like if I let too much more time go by, we're gonna forget where we came, like where we started. Not forget for real, but like we'll just be on a different trajectory. And I love to have that opportunity to just sit and reminisce and see how much progress has actually been made so that you can feel proud of yourself as well and know that you've overcome so much and that any of the obstacles that may present themselves in the future as you're looking to accomplish more, like, oh, I got that because I came from here.
Facts.
Um, and the last thing I want to touch on before we kind of switch gears to, life after our time together, because you've had quite a few months, you're 7 months postpartum. And so in that time, we haven't been as, locked in as we were. Right. And so I do want to touch base on how things, have shifted now that motherhood has got you by the hair again. About to throw, right? So, no, but one other thing I wanted to touch on regarding the mastermind was your relationship with men. And so when we started working together, and even the first spiritual mothering summit, I was angry boots, okay? Not too long after having my son with another baby daddy and it not working out. So I had my own unresolved issues with my dad and with men. But when we started the mastermind together, we were in community with other upstanding, high vibrational, integral men, and it really transformed us. So, just really briefly, you could just touch on how that
Oh, okay,
whole
yes.
co-ed type of experience really helped you, especially as a mother of two sons.
Yeah, ooh, yeah. It contributed to helping me restore my faith in the male species for sure. It's it let me see that they can be loving and nurturing and positive and purposeful. And like they can all of it's not an all conversation, right? Which very much was the case for me for a long time. Like, not all of them like that. No, that's it. Period. I'm done. I'm not dealing with none of them. Um, and it helped. We had some conversations about, being single mothers and not having, being worried about our children, specifically our sons, not having those sense of role models. And they're like, hello, is we not here? Hello, are we not? Right?
They pulled us
They're
up
like, oh,
every
my
time.
fault, you right. It was because it wasn't always camaraderie. Like, we had tough conversations, real raw conversations with each other about our he don't care about that, and about our own experiences when it comes to the same sex and the opposite sex.
Mhm.
And it helped me see that I could be in those rooms around them and be okay.
Yeah.
And feel safe, feel protected and cared for. I don't know if Greg had told you, but baby, when he showed up to the baby shower, I was just like, he was like, all right now, come on with all that. I was like, there you go. He was like,
Yeah.
all right, you good. But yeah, no, it helped, and it it let us be who we are. They let us be who we are and feel how we feel without like judgment, without trying to course correct, without trying to um, justify their
Right.
friends, behavior or whatever, the habits or the things that has happened or what our experiences are with them. They just created they let us be safe.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was so beautiful. I just had the memory of when you had the knock on your door with your ice cream request. Like loving
yeah.
down to the very small details. And I just love that for you because I know when I, told you about the mastermind and who would be a part of it, you was like, you already know I don't fuck with them. I'm like, girl, you know I don't fuck with them. But we could trust that this space is really bringing the best out of the people that were included. And I just, again, just you making that request and it being met with no questions asked. You ain't have to do nothing. You ain't have to prove
And the
nothing. You
dog
ain't have
child, and I
you
was
ain't
just
have to
like,
say no
so
way.
it
You just
could
gotta
really, girl. Ooh, I'm gonna have to.
yeah.
Ooh, okay. Because what that affirmed for me, sis, is that it really could be that fucking simple.
Yeah. Yep.
So it really could be this simple with y'all. Like, I
Right.
really could just ask for something, wow, and then it's done.
Showed up at the door. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
beautiful.
And it, like you said, like, it's ice cream, sis. It's ice cream. But like, I really wanted that ice cream. I really wanted that ice cream, and I wasn't. And that was I was joking. You know what I mean? You like anybody got no
Right.
request? I'm like, I really could use some ice cream. I'm like, what? What's your address? I'm like, wait,
What
what?
kind? Right. That's it. What kind of way I'm standing it? That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Those little things. Uh, it keeps. I keep it in the front of my mind, so I know what I'm looking for.
So awesome. I'm so glad that continue to stay a part of the community so that you could participate in the mastermind and obviously share your visions, your goals, get that love and support, see that transformation of those mindsets and belief systems that you had previously. And so let's switch gears to life after mastermind or after our coaching together. I mean, we're still in community with each other. So the distinction really is more like since you've not shown up, let's say, to weekly calls and that type of stuff, how has your life changed since completing your process with us up to this point? Because I know there's more to come in the future, but like for what you have completed, what has changed for you?
Um, it's definitely it's definitely kept me on my toes. Like even in me being in a space where I know I had to honor that I needed rest, right? Recovering from a major surgery, having a baby, and then adjusting to that all over again. It was a serious. It's been a serious mental transformation,
Yeah.
and emotional, and spiritual, and physical, right? Like we go through a major death and rebirth when we give birth. Um, but it's always been in the front of my mind. Like I would open my planner and just be like, I would look at the time and see it be like 6:30. I'd be like, I would be getting on a call right now, but baby need to eat. You know, it was just like it was always just like this subtle reminder around like yeah you know and not that um detours sometimes are our greatest blessings, right? What can be perceived as uh I don't even want to say an inconvenience, but just unplanned, okay? Like the unplanned moments of life. Um, you at the time you're like, I don't even understand how this is supposed to be working out for me right now because this is not what I planned for. But
Yeah.
in retrospect, it's like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. I see what you did there, because
Yeah.
it having Zion, like looking at the way, watching Zion look at the world has reminded me of the absence of that curiosity.
Mm.
Like it has reminded me that like when did I stop? Like when did that happen for me? And it's continued even not being in the program, even not being in the mastermind. It's not even like I'm hearing you in my head per se, but I'm hearing these questions like, so what does that so what is this telling you? How do you feel now that you've made it? I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, but it has it continues to be just like peeling back these, you know, just peeling and
Yeah.
not with judgment, not to berate myself, not to um or try to make myself feel bad about it. It's just like, okay, I noticed it. Now, you know, what is this? So a lot of it has been like, where did I lose that? Where did I lose this? When did I stop? When did I get like this? You know, and just seeing like Zod, he's so persistent, right? Like he's like pulling
Mm.
himself up, girl. He ain't even got no walker. Your boy's already like, and watching how he doesn't quit. Like even when you can clearly see he's frustrated because he keeps falling, like he's right back at it again.
Mm.
And I'm just like, as an adult, if we do that, if we see ourselves do something again and again and again, we like, oh, look at you, stupid. Yeah, you see, you ain't never gonna get it. And I'm like, but we don't talk to our children like that. I would
I
never say that.
literally said that in my book. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would never say that to him. So why do I say that shit to myself? And then again the questions like where did this come from? Whose voice is this? That's really been the one for me.
Mhm.
I promise you lately. Like whose voice is this? Because this is
Yeah.
not my voice. So who was it? And not for nothing, really seeing how deeply toxic.
Yeah.
Okay. And just like, whoa, yeah, no, we can't, I can't stay here. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So it's just been more constantly asking us questions. And that's what I mean. Like it's not you per se, but it's like the emotion, you recognize the emotion, and then we have to apply some sense of logic to it, right? Like it's not that the emotion is coming up for a reason, right? It's trying to bring your attention to something. So it's kind of been a series of those
Right.
um, now in this experience, which are not things that I did, like I said, having D, even though I
Yeah.
wasn't all that this little life came from me, I was still a child. Okay. I was 20. Like, um, and now I'm a whole grown ass woman. Okay. And my perception has changed so much. It's changed so much just from last year, you
Yeah.
know. I'm probably like a fifth new version of myself since then. For real. And I couldn't understand it for so long. You kind of like have these seasons where you enjoy things and then it fades away. You have these experiences and you're not interested anymore. I would get a job and I'm like, yeah, no, I can't work this job anymore. And I would just quit. And I couldn't I couldn't understand what that was, right? I'd have people telling me like, "Oh, you flighty, you can't make up your mind, you aimless, you." And I'm like, no, because truly, like in my heart, just it has to be in what it is that I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, really just doing my best to stay aligned in that space and stay open to it, which is new for me.
Yeah. It's because we've had to put up that wall to protect ourselves for so long that being open and willing and curious about things sometimes got us hurt, and so learning to surrender that and to ask yourself though the power of clarifying questions, right?
Yeah,
Because mommy may
yes,
urban and mommy Pacquiao, like there's a whole
yes,
combination of questions coming for you to really help you to kind of break down those walls and barriers that were blocking you. So I'm really happy to hear that you've taken that and applied it, to your everyday life now. And I'm just excited to see how you continue to allow your children, but especially this new baby, to help you be more persistent and to see the world through more curious eyes and to be more open to what life has to offer you, even if you get bumped around, even if you do get frustrated, even if the emotions are not perfect all the time, right? There's still something in it for you to learn and grow through. So I love it. I just would love to kind of, land the plane a little bit by asking you, because one of the things that I appreciate about our connection is that we always root for each other. We're always pushing each other and supporting each other to do more, dream bigger, go deeper, go further. And so obviously this spotlight is about you, and it's also helping other people to see what's possible for themselves, right? And it doesn't have to be with me necessarily, but we want community wellness to be less stigmatized. We want that therapeutic process to be something that people, especially our people, we can just say, you know what, I need some support, and that's okay. Let me ask for the help. Let me get the help. Let me trust that the right people are going to show up and offer that. And so, what would you say to someone that is like considering, joining one of my coaching programs or otherwise, but might be hesitant? What would you say to
Um, I would say pray on it firstly, always, right? Just don't just be falling for the pretty face, right? But
them?
no, pray on it for sure. But I would, if you are hesitant, I would say you offer like consultations, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I would say get you a consultation. Um, because you have to know that you are ready for what it is that you are asking for. And I'm almost certain that if you have crossed paths with the Tiba, you're ready for it. Everything is always in alignment. And if you're feeling compelled, if you're feeling that pull, then you need to jump on it. And just know, like she said, Mommy Pacquiao, okay, she coming out swinging every time. She gonna hold your hand, but if you act crazy, she gonna go upside your head.
Yeah,
But
don't let the pretty face fool you. That's why
right,
she said, like, please don't get it twisted that you just
right,
want to
but
get coddled and enabled, and I'm not gonna hold you accountable. No, we got to get you to your highest potential, and
right.
even if there's more to achieve after we work together, I need to get you prepared for what else Spirit has in store for you. So yes, please don't get it twisted.
Don't get
That
it
I might look,
twisted.
I'm soft, but I'm strong at the same time.
Right,
So this
right.
really is
Pretty
something
face
you
with a
have to
mighty
come.
punch. You heard?
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
how has your personal like confidence or sense of purpose evolved since working with me?
Oh goodness. Well, back to the point I mentioned before, because we had spent time like getting clear on the things. We had the workbook where we had to write out the things that we wanted to create and we wanted to see for ourselves and the things we have been working on. And then seeing it, for me anyway, I'm very visual. So like being able to look back over like, oof, there's a sense of accountability associated with that, right? And then to watch, to witness yourself, because it's you, even though you have a Tiba as a coach or a mentor, it is you. It is your effort, your work, your will, your determination that's going to get you there ultimately. And then watching it go from something that was just a think piece to you saying like, boo, it's done. Oh, I got the investors, they locked in. Oh, I closed, or the web. It could be, and it don't even have to be nothing grand like that. You could really just be like, I want to do my laundry every Sunday for the next 4 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, as long as the laundry is done right and you're folding it and putting it away, you get your gold star at the end of the every week. It's not easy, but it is simple.
Yeah, I love it. Can you think of a specific moment when you realize, like, oh, this shit is actually working? It's actually making a difference in my life. Like, because you kind of start a journey, you're like, I ain't really seeing no results just yet. Like, this is cute, but it ain't doing nothing yet. And then there's a moment where you're like, oh, snap. Okay, now I see there was a method to the madness because it actually works. Can you recall a time
Um,
like that?
I would say when I really was like, oh nah, I could make some stuff happen, because I don't know if you recognize, um, and this was even before the mastermind actually, because this
Mm,
was last year. But after
okay.
we did the spiritual mothering summit, I started my podcast.
Yes, you did.
We're not gonna talk about that right now, but yeah, I started it.
Yes.
And it those were one of those things that was like, yeah, because what I think it boils down to is for you to just really be able to put into perspective the ways that you procrastinate and you play yourself out of your position. It's not other people playing you out of position, it's you playing yourself out of your position. And I feel like that was my greatest takeaway from that, to be like, this is all the things that I wanted to do. And then we have the conversations about like, okay, so what's stopping you?
Mhm.
Right? And then you just like, um, I have to say it's me? Okay, because
Because it don't matter where you
right,
blame
yeah.
it. We still gonna, peel the layers back and realize that we are the ones that have control
Right,
over what we
right.
say
So
and
what
what
I
we
when I
actually
said at
do.
the beginning, like the part that you play in your own suffering, um,
Yeah.
and that was really like that moment to be like, huh? Because you make the decision, right? You could say, I could spend the next hour reading this book that's going to help expand my mind, or I could click on Netflix, okay, and watch something for an hour. And it
Yeah.
really comes down to those small choices. So being able to be like, am I gonna eat the salad? I'm gonna eat this. Right? I could easily go to McDonald's and get me or Wendy's and give me a 5 for $5, instead of
Right.
the damn groceries that I brought, you know. So it's those little deliberate small choices that I've noticed, because that ultimately is what contributes to the vision that you
Yes.
have.
Yes. And that was so beautiful for us to like walk through the journey of the spiritual mothering summit, because you got a chance to see like behind the curtain of how I implement things and how I execute on stuff. And that was one of the things that really encouraged you to start the mastermind with me, because you were like, yo, she be saying shit and then she get it done. And I need to be
I
there.
need that. I
So,
need more of that in my
right.
life. Yes.
So it is those smaller actions that lead up to the larger result. How would you say that your growth has positively impacted the people around you? Could be friends, colleagues, community members.
Um, so my she won't say it, but my mother got weight loss surgery because she
Oh,
watched
wow.
me lose my, 160 pounds over the last few years.
Right.
And I want to say she's down like 70 pounds. She got
Nice.
it last October. Yeah, so she
Okay.
just made a year. Um, the boys, both of the boys, D is actually preparing or gearing up for potentially the firefighters academy.
Mm.
Yeah, he's waiting to actually just get scheduled for the test, but we're saying that it's gonna go all the way. So he's been like preparing his body, and we've been making adjustments to what he eats, trying to get him more protein and stuff. And he's doing that because he's like, Mom, you can go to the gym every day, then I can do 100 push-ups every day. I'm like, yeah, exactly. And my brother
Right.
too, like he go play ball now. He works out with his boys. And the conversations that we have, like there was this little, I guess, trend that I seen on was it on TikTok a few weeks ago, and sis put in the things that she wanted to manifest in her life. She gave GPT like 5 things that she wanted to manifest, and then she was like, walk me through like a day in my life when all of these things have like come to fruition, right? And she plays like it, reading it back to her aloud. And I was like, so I did it with the boys, and
Nice.
I had each one of them give me their 5 things, and we put it in, and then we played read aloud on it, and we were all in here in tears, okay, like because that's not things that we grew up with. Me and my brother say all the time, like we didn't have a mother that was like, go for your dreams, I support you 100, like reach for the sky, you can have whatever you want kind of thing. It was more like, money don't grow on trees, nah, I don't got it, no, you can't have that, don't ask for nothing when we go in this store type, like that. So dismantling those beliefs for them, even though I know I can't do it for them, but
Mhm.
I always just try to like put a little water on the seed every time we hang out. So I see that in them. And Zai, so the other day I was singing to him, her name is the song I sent you, Shalea, You Are Enough.
Yeah.
I was singing that to Zion, and your boy was just like, the whole 2.5 minutes, girl, he was just like locked in with me. And it
Um,
made me cry because I was just like, what a difference it would have made had this, it's so simple. Had I just been hearing those 4 sentences growing up, bro.
yeah.
And I see that it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different for them,
Yeah.
because I'm choosing to.
I have chills right now. I'm so happy to hear that. And obviously, I have a much deeper connection and bond with Zion. Like he was hearing my voice multiple times a
No,
week for 90 minutes each. And it was just so awesome to take that journey with you and to see how not only your nervous system through your level of trust, your level of openness, all of those things, um, and just your level of self-love and compassion and grace for yourself, how that translated through your pregnancy and also into your mothering style now. Like I'm just so grateful to have been a part of that journey, and I'm happy for y'all. I'm so excited for him. I'm excited for your family as you continue to be that matriarch and to lead from a place of unconditional love and compassion and just clarity that you didn't necessarily have before. So what would you say you feel most proud of now that you've completed these programs with me. And, if you could sum up your experience in one sentence. I know we talked a lot, but
Okay, I know. Yeah.
if you can
Um,
condense it into like one sentence, what would you say? You're most
I
proud of in your sentence.
would I would say that I'm glad I'm glad that I chose myself. I'm
Yes.
glad that I chose to focus and channel the energy that I could have easily given to the rightful owners. Okay. Could have easily handed it over to could have easily handed out some ass whoopings. I'm glad. Woo! I be like, baby, because the amount folks don't even realize the amount of restraint it takes to be the bigger person, because you be like, okay, I'm sparing you because I'm sparing myself. Trust me when I
Yes.
say that. But yeah, I would have to say that I'm glad that I chose myself, that I chose to find a way to do no harm, okay, and transcend the the outdated beliefs and emotions and stories and mindsets that hadn't been serving me for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's still we're not going to say we've I mean, I feel like I have arrived, I feel like I have made it, but there's still the residual, right? So i I don't want to make it seem like it just like goes away, because it definitely doesn't. You still to an extent have to bear the weight of those choices that you made. But in being here now and recognizing the power in the present moment, you be like, oh, but I bet you won't. But I bet you won't see me there no more. So yeah, I would say that I'm grateful that the opportunities were available to me, and I
Mhm.
chose to capitalize off of them.
Yes. I'm so proud of you for that too. All right, one sentence. What's your experience with your girl in one sentence?
Um, Mind shifting, soul stirring, heartwarming, and safe and
Wow.
safe. It had never needed to be said that the things that we were doing, or the conversations that we were having, or what, the work that we shared with you, um, those moments of vulnerability, there was never a need to say, not anything you say here, no one outside of this space you will ever know. There was never a need to say that. It was just, it's felt.
Yeah. That is so beautiful. I really appreciate you taking this time out of your beautiful, busy mommy life to
I
talk
love
to me
you,
about this
Shay.
journey. I'm just so excited for you. I know we still got some more conversations to have about that show we was watching, The Power, but we're gonna be here for a whole nother.
Yeah, no.
We'll be here for a whole nother hour if we talk about that in depth. But it has it been good? You've been enjoying
Oh
it?
my goodness, yes.
I
From the
knew you
first,
would.
he watched like half of the first episode with me, and he was like, "Nah, ma, wait, pause it. When I get off of work," I'm like, "Nah, you gotta catch up on your own time." But no, oh my goodness, girl, if that ain't telling. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
thank you so much for having me,
of
my sister.
course.
I'm
I
always gonna
love you.
big you up.
I
Anytime.
love you.
Look, you need me, what? Next interview, you need me to write you a review, whatever you need, I got
No, this was about you. I know we talked about our journey together, obviously, but so much of it is really just, you did it. You did the work. You gave birth to a beautiful baby. You're giving birth to a whole new reality. You've stepped into a whole new experience of yourself. And I'm just so excited to highlight you and spotlight your growth and obviously to send people your way. So tell us a little bit real quick before I let you go. What are you up to right now? You know why I'm doing this.
you. Yes, I
Cause
know
I,
how you
cause I,
doing this.
'cause I need you. I need you to stay with the momentum that you building right now. So
Yes.
tell us, declare it, right? Tell
Yeah,
us
so I'm up to season 2 of New Femme Order podcast. Will be dropping soon. I am up to collaborating to create a black operated, well, in this case, a black woman operated mommy and me class here in New York City. I am, I will be facilitating future workshops for mothers and their daughters, but specifically for younger women. We could talk about where that decision, how I arrived at that later, but yeah, the younger generation I feel like needs me more. They
yes,
and we have a better understanding than most women my age, and I do. And I'm actually working on an ebook. I want to kind of take a conglomerate of that knowledge and put it in book form. Sometimes people don't want to do like the workshops, but they can still get the same value and information in a,
yes.
a self-paced version, I guess.
I love it.
But yeah, boy, we got some things percolating. Oh, and I'm also working on building my fitness and kind of like wellness. I put that on the back burner, but I think I'm actually going to create a channel for that and helping mothers and like postpartum recovery get back into, some type of routine and showing up for themselves.
Listen.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna watch out because when this woman right here is on her P's and Q's and I'm also doing what and we get together, the whole
It's going to be a
thing shifts.
problem.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Like
Yeah.
she said, it's some stuff percolating. She's doing her own thing, but we are going to be collaborating in the near future on helping getting those ideas into the world and giving birth to them in a beautiful way. So I'm just so proud of you. I'm gonna let you go back and enjoy your Sunday. This was
Yes,
amazing.
this was. I'm so excited. Thank you
I
so
love
much
you.
for having me. I love you
All right.
too.
Kiss
Get the
me for
babies
me.
a kiss
Tell
for
Jack
me.
and
Yeah,
hi.
look.
Exactly. You already
The
know.
babies for me. Yes. Eat something good for me.
All right, babe. I love you.
I love you too, sis. Later.